Hey, Jan, I got one question for
Yeah,
you.
yes, uh-huh.
Miss Priscilla Foster had her first appearance already. Does she need to be back in first appearance again?
No, we took care of her yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. Thank you. All right. So, there at the jail, ma'am, can you state your full name to confirm for me?
Jennifer Francis.
Okay. So, Miss Francis, your attorney, who is Miss Brown Melcher, is with us, and I'm going to speak to her for just a minute about your case. And Miss Brown Melcher, do you want me to read the charges?
Your Honor, I waived the reading of the charges. I saw it online, so I have an understanding of what she's charged with. Thank you.
Okay. And is there anything you want to tell me on bond?
Yes, Your Honor. Miss Francis has lived in Georgia for the last 24 years. She moved here when she was 12 years old. So at this point, raised in Georgia, and she claims Georgia as her place of residence and home. She is 36 years old. She turns 37 in 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks from today. She has two girls, ages 7 and 19. She is the sole provider for the two children. She went to college at Shorter College in Clayton State, where she received her degree in accounting. And she attended North Clayton High School when she was in high school, Your Honor. She owns a franchise called Jam Pro, which is a cleaning service for the last 4 years, where she employs four individuals. So she is eager to get bond, make that bond so she can return to making a livelihood, not only for her family, but to have her employees still be able to work.
No, it's a minute.
This, just briefly, as far as this case goes, without going into the weeds of the facts, Your Honor, this case involved her being in a car with two other individuals. She was a passenger. Those individuals were also arrested and charged with pretty similar, if not all same charges, in addition to maybe additional charges on that for them, is what I was able to see. So there might be some issues down the line as to, who's actually responsible for the things that were found in that vehicle. Our position is that they were not her items that were in the car. She was just a passenger riding with the two individuals. My understanding is she has no criminal history, no prior convictions, or first arrest.
Hey, you should have been.
And so we are asking for a $5,000 total bond for her family to be able to pay that and to get out. We do not believe she's a flight risk. We do not believe she's a risk to reoffend. We do believe she has good bond factors and good ties to the community, and will return to court in the future. She's also retained counsel, so we will make sure she's also present. And our entry was sent today. I will also make sure I probably go hand deliver one to the clerk's office as well, because sometimes that snail mail can get lost, is my experience. But we do believe she would be a good candidate for bond.
I can't get down that low on the bond, given these charges, but I am going to, on the possession of the firearm during the commission of certain crimes, I'm going to set that at 3,000. On the open container violation, I'm going to knock that down to 250. And then on the violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act and the possession with intent to distribute charges, um, we'll do 2,500 on each of those.
Yes, Your Honor.
That'll get, so that total bond would be 8,250.
Understood.
Okay.
Thank
And
you, Your Honor.
yeah, and the preliminary hearing, let me save this to make sure I don't
Okay.
let that. Okay. And the preliminary hearing would be scheduled, or will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. If you have a legal conflict or anything for that day, we can push it to another day.
Yes, Your Honor.
And I think that will take care of everything on my end. Do you have anything further on this?
Nothing further, Your Honor. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you. And thank you, Miss Francis.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a great day. May I be
Okay.
excused,
You
Your
too.
Honor?
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Miss Francis, I'll call your daughter.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Buenos días, señor. ¿Nos podría decir su nombre, por favor?
Santiago Martínez.
Santiago Martínez.
Okay. Thank you. Give me just one moment.
Gracias. Permítame un momento.
Okay. Mr. Martinez, you have one charge.
Muy bien, señor Martínez, usted tiene un cargo.
That is felony theft by conversion.
Es apropiación ilícita como delito mayor.
That bond amount is going to be $3,000.
La cantidad de su fianza es de $3,000.
That will also come with a special condition that you're not to return to New Avenues at 7620 Terra Boulevard in Jonesboro.
También conlleva una condición especial que usted no puede volver a New Avenues en el 7620 de la Tara Boulevard en Jonesboro, Georgia.
Just one moment.
Un momentico.
Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m.
La fecha de su audiencia preliminar está programada para el 18 de septiembre a las 8:30 de la mañana.
Those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one.
Estas audiencias se celebran por computadora, igual que esta.
And I have reviewed your application for a court-appointed attorney and find that you do qualify.
Ya repasé su solicitud. Ay, perdón. Ya repasé su solicitud, señor, para un abogado de oficio y determino que usted sí cumple los criterios para un abogado de oficio.
So I will appoint an attorney to represent you.
Así que nombraré un abogado para representarle.
Do you have any questions, sir?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta, señor?
¿Cuánto es el % de la multa?
How much is the percentage of the fine?
You'll have to speak directly to a bond company because they sometimes charge different prices, but 10% would be $300 and 15% would be $450.
Tendrá que hablar directamente con la compañía de fianzas porque a veces cobran diferente, pero 10% sería $300 y 15% sería $450.
Entonces, si lo pago yo, entonces tendría yo que dar los $3,000.
So if I pay it, I would have to pay the $3,000.
If you're paying a cash bond directly to the sheriff's office, correct?
Si usted va a pagar en efectivo directamente a la oficina de los alguaciles, correcto.
So, ¿cómo yo puedo contactarme con la persona del BAM?
How can I get in contact with the bonds person?
You would have to talk to the deputies in your housing unit about using the telephones.
Tendría que hablar con los agentes en su dormitorio para que le permiten usar el teléfono.
Ok, gracias.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
Hey, good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Buenos días, señor. ¿Nos podría decir su nombre?
Juan Alberto Mancera.
Juan Alberto Mancera.
I believe I saw you yesterday, didn't I?
Creo que hablamos con usted ayer, ¿no es así?
Sí, pero me dijeron que otra vez tenía la corte. Fue lo que la oficial, el sheriff, fue a recogerme a donde yo estoy a la celda.
Yes, but they told me that I had court today and the sheriff's deputy came to get me at my cell.
Okay. I did see you on this charge yesterday, and so all of your paperwork has been processed, and you have a bond of $3,500.
Ya hablé con usted sobre este cargo ayer y toda la documentación de la fianza ya se tramitó. Y usted sí tiene la fianza de 3,500.
Okay. So everything has been taken care of.
Una pregunta,
Ya.
¿cuándo va a ser mi otra corte que tengo? No me acuerdo realmente.
Ya se hizo todo. And I have one question, Your Honor. When is going to be my next court date? I don't remember.
I believe your next court date was scheduled for September the 24th.
Creo que su próxima audiencia fue programada para el 24 de septiembre.
Sí, está bien.
Okay.
Gracias.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Gracias, señor.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Buenos días, señor. ¿Nos podría decir su nombre?
Ricardo Silva Pérez.
Carlos Silva Pérez.
Ricardo.
Ricardo
Yeah.
Silva Pérez.
Pérez.
Okay, thank you, sir. Give me just one moment.
Gracias, señor. Un momentito.
Okay, Mr. Silva, you have two charges.
Señor Silva, usted tiene dos cargos.
Sí.
These are both misdemeanors, and you may have already been told your bond amounts because they have a set amount already.
Ambos son delitos menores y ya posiblemente ya le dijeron la cantidad de la fianza porque ya tienen una fianza fija.
Okay.
But you were charged with unlawful use of blue lights,
Pero se le ha imputado el delito de uso ilícito de luces azules
and that bond is 500.
y la fianza para ese cargo es de 500
And you're charged with driving without a license,
y se le ha imputado el cargo de manejar sin licencia
and that bond is $1,000.
y esa fianza es de $1,000.
So your total bond is $1,500.
Entonces la fianza total es de $1,500.
Do you plan on posting a bond today?
¿Sería su intención pagar la fianza hoy?
Se me hace que ya la pagaron.
It seems that it's already been paid.
Okay, they're probably just processing it now.
Está bien, probablemente está en trámite ahora. Yes.
Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 24th,
Su audiencia preliminar está programada para el 24 de septiembre,
but that will be canceled at the point that you're released on bond.
pero eso sería cancelada en el momento que usted salga bajo fianza.
Okay.
And when you come back to court for your arraignment hearing,
Y luego
would you
cuando
like to
usted-
be, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Your Honor.
Oh, sorry. Actually, let me change it. You'll receive a notice in the mail for when to come back to court for your arraignment hearing.
Entonces, usted recibirá una notificación por correo sobre cuándo tendrá que volver para la instrucción de cargos.
When you come back to court, do you want to be represented by an attorney at no cost?
Cuando usted vuelva al tribunal, ¿quisiera ser representado por un abogado sin costo?
Sí,
Yes.
está bien.
So I received your application. Do you have any children?
Recibí su solicitud, señor. ¿Tiene usted hijos?
Sí,
Yes.
Are they under 18 years old?
¿Y son menores de 18 años?
no, uno sí, otro no. El otro más grande tiene 23 años. Una 18, uno 12.
One is and one isn't. The oldest is 23, and then there's an 18-year-old.
Okay. All right. I am going to find that you do qualify for a
Determino-
court-appointed attorney.
Determino entonces que usted sí cumple los criterios para un abogado de oficio
And I will put that order in today.
y voy a emitir la orden hoy día.
Do you have any questions, sir?
¿Tiene preguntas, señor?
Sí. ¿Podría salir hoy?
Yes. Could I get out today?
You should, if you have already, or your family has already started to post the bond, that process should be completed fairly soon.
Debería. Si su familia ya empezó
Ya
el
pagaron.
trámite de la fianza, entonces se debería de completar el proceso bastante rápido.
Otra pregunta. Me acaba de dar mi permiso de trabajo y el Social Security nomás es necesario ir a sacar la licencia.
So they've already given me my Social Security and my work permit. The only thing I need to do now is get my license.
Okay, you'll have to talk to the sheriff's department about that.
Está bien. Tendrá que hablar eso con los del Departamento de los Alguaciles, señor.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Gracias, señor.
All right, good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Muy bien, señor. Diga su nombre.
Adán Silverio.
Adán Silveri.
Okay, give me just one moment.
Permítame, señor. Un momentito.
Okay, you have one charge, and that is called criminal trespass.
Usted tiene un solo cargo que se llama violar una propiedad privada.
That bond will be $1,000,
La fianza es de $1,000, Señor.
and that will include a special condition that for the time being, while out on bond, you would have no contact with Nereida Silverio.
Y eso incluye una condición especial que por el momento, mientras usted esté en libertad bajo fianza, que no tenga ningún contacto con Nireida Silverio.
And I believe that is your sister, correct?
Creo que es su hermana, ¿correcto?
Correcto.
Correct.
Do you all both live at the same home?
¿Ustedes viven los dos en la misma casa?
No, ella vive unas casas más abajo de donde vivo yo.
No, she lives in some houses a little ways down from where I do.
Okay. All right. So for the time being, just have no contact with her.
Entonces, por el momento que no tenga ningún contacto con ella.
And later you can talk to your attorney about getting those bond conditions changed to allow some contact.
Y más adelante usted podrá hablar con su abogado sobre la posibilidad de cambiar esas condiciones de fianza.
Your preliminary hearing will be September the 24th.
La fecha de su audiencia preliminar será el 24 de septiembre.
If you post a bond and are released anytime before then that hearing will just be canceled.
Si usted paga la fianza o sale en libertad en algún momento antes de esa fecha, entonces la audiencia será cancelada.
You would then get a notice in the mail of when to return to court for your arraignment hearing.
Entonces después recibirá una notificación por correo que le indica cuándo tiene que regresar para la instrucción de cargos.
When you come back to court, would you like to be represented by an attorney at no cost?
Cuando usted vuelve al tribunal, ¿quisiera ser representado por un abogado sin costo?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, I need to ask a few questions to see if you qualify.
Está bien, le tengo que hacer unas preguntas para ver si usted cumple los criterios.
What type of work do you do?
¿Qué clase de trabajo hace usted, señor?
Hago pedidos de comida y comida de tienda, así como tipo Uber Eats.
I do like food orders and delivery to food. It's like Uber Eats.
Okay. And after you pay your expenses and taxes each week, how much do you usually take home in income?
Y después de pagar los gastos y los impuestos cada semana, ¿cuánto se lleva usted en ingresos cada semana?
Pues no gano mucho a la semana, pero después de todo, para mí se quedan unos 200 a 300 dólares.
The interpreter needs to ask him to repeat. ¿Dijo 275?
Lo repito, no gano mucho a la semana, pero después de pagar todo, para mí se me quedan unos 200 a 300 dólares.
275.
200 a 300 dólares.
Thank you, Your Honor. The interpreter was not hearing correctly. I do not make much money per week, but after everything, what I end up keeping is between $200 and $300.
I am going to find that you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney.
Determino que usted sí cumple los criterios para un abogado de oficio, señor.
And I will see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this case.
Y aseguraré que se le designe a alguien para que le represente en este caso.
Do you have any questions, sir?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Adelante.
Tengo la mayoría de la fianza conmigo, pero en mi tarjeta no lo tengo todo completo. Tengo como unos 680 dólares. No tengo los completos.
I have the majority of the money for bond here with me on my card. I have about 680. I don't have the full 1,000.
Okay. You'll have to talk to some family or something to try to get some help.
Está bien. Entonces, usted tendrá que hablar con sus familiares o con alguien para ver si le pueden ayudar.
El problema es que tengo todos mis contactos en mi teléfono y mi teléfono se quedó sin carga y no me sé ningún número de memoria.
The problem is all of my contacts are in my phone and my phone is completely uncharged and I don't know any numbers by heart.
Okay, I can't help you with that. You'll have to talk to the deputies in your housing unit.
Lamentable, no le puedo ayudar con eso. Tendrá que hablar con los alguaciles en su dormitorio.
Y el único número que me sé de memoria es mi hermana, la víctima.
The only number I do know by heart is my sister's number, who is the victim.
And you cannot contact her.
Si no puede contactarla.
Puede que algún sheriff de aquí puede contactarla.
Possibly could a sheriff's officer from here contact her?
You'll have to talk to the sheriff's office. I don't have anything to do with that.
Usted tendrá que hablar con los del departamento de los alguaciles. Yo no tengo nada que ver en esto.
Y he estado escuchando que puedo pagar un porcentaje de la fianza.
I've been hearing that you can pay a percentage of the bond.
You may be able to use a bonding company and pay a percentage, but that you'll have to contact a bonding company to do that.
Podría usar una compañía de fianzas y pagar el porcentaje, pero tendrá que contactar una compañía de fianzas para hacer eso.
Tengo una última pregunta.
I have one last question.
Mhm.
Pues mi récord está limpio, libre de así cosas malas, no he hecho nada malo. Es posible que me dejen ir así más pronto.
One moment, Your Honor, a clarification. ¿Es posible que
Si me dejan ir más pronto por mi buen récord.
I have one last question. My record is clean. I don't have any bad things on my record. Is it possible for them to let me go earlier since I don't have anything for my good comportment, my good behavior?
The cases have already been evaluated for signature bonds this morning. And I do not recall why yours did not qualify.
Los casos ya fueron evaluados para una fianza bajo palabra esta mañana y no recuerdo por qué el caso suyo no cumplió los criterios de esa clase de fianza.
As soon as the hearings end today, I will look back again at your case to see whether you might qualify.
En cuanto termine con las audiencias de hoy, voy a volver a mirar su caso para ver si usted posiblemente cumple los criterios.
Our chief judge has the authority to do that, and if I think that you do qualify, I will pass along the information to her.
Nuestra juez precedente sí tiene la autoridad de determinar que usted sí cualifica y si determino que usted sí cumple los criterios, yo le daré la información suya.
Muchas gracias.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Muy bien, gracias.
Good morning. You like to take care of the females first?
Yeah, and so is that all the Spanish speakers?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, Ms. Tolles, thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor. You all have a great
Okay,
day.
all right, we'll see you later.
All right now.
Who would you like to have first, Your Honor? We lost some paperwork.
Any females, I in whatever order is fine.
Yes, sir. Whoever steps up to the screen go first, the rest have a seat.
All right, and good. Can you state your name for me?
Crystal Holmes.
Can you say it again?
Crystal Holmes.
Crystal Holmes. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, give me just a minute to find your paperwork here. All right, Miss Holmes, you have got two charges. The first is a felony that's possession of a Schedule I controlled substance. That bond is going to be $3,000. The second is improper lane change. That bond is going to be $500. So your total is $3,500.
How much? 3,005.
$3,500. And your preliminary hearing is going to be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are conducted over the computer. just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll go back.
Next lady can step up. Y'all slide down.
All right. Give me just one moment, ma'am. All right. And good morning. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning, Lucia Shantae Smith.
Ms. Smith. Okay. Give me just a second here.
You shut up and start talking. Step up. Move back here. Ma'am, step up. Step up. Step up. Go right back. Step.
All right. So, Ms. Smith, you have one charge that is simple battery. That is a misdemeanor. And that bond amount is going to be $2,000. And that's going to come with special conditions. So while out on bond, you are to have no contact and to stay away from the alleged victims, Ulrika Weaver and Mark Elrod, and also not to return to the location at 4845 Jonesboro Road, Forest Park. I believe that's a KFC, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So just stay away from there. And the preliminary hearing in your case would be scheduled for September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yes.
All right. We'll put you down for September 24th at 8:30 a.m. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. Based on your income level, you do not qualify as indigent under Georgia law, and so you don't qualify for a court-appointed attorney. So if you want an attorney to represent you, you'll need to hire your own attorney. However, I did note here, you noted on your application you did serve in the U.S. military. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What branch did you serve in?
Army.
Army. How long did you serve?
9.5 years.
9.5 years. Well, thank you for your service. The reason I ask those questions is our court has a veterans court program. And whenever I have somebody come through that is a veteran, I like to send that case information to the Veterans Court Coordinator to see if there's any additional resources they might have there for you that can help. And so I will forward your case information over to them, and then they'll contact you if they can help you. Okay? Okay. All right. And that'll take care of everything today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Brittany Harvey.
Can you say it one more time?
Brittany Harvey.
Miss Harvey. Okay, I gotcha. Give me just a minute to get your paperwork. All right. And Miss Harvey, you have one charge, that is battery family violence. That is a misdemeanor. That bond is $3,000. That has a special condition that while out on bond for the time being, you will need to not have contact with Jamel Harvey. And if I'm reading this correctly, is that your husband?
Yes.
And do you all, I know this alleged incident happened over 2 years ago. Do you all still live together?
Yes.
Okay. So for the time being, you can't have contact with him, and so that means you'll need to stay away from the residence. You can schedule an appointment with the sheriff's office to return to the residence to pick up belongings that you may need while this bond condition is in place. You'll need to schedule that appointment within the first 10 days of your release. And I will tell you, Mr. Harvey, if he would like the bond conditions to be amended, he can discuss it with the victim services folks at the solicitor's office. You can also speak to your attorney. They can generally get something worked out and let the court know that they're both signing off on it, and then we could usually get those changed to allow contact again. Again, I know this is an old incident, but we have to put those stay away provisions in right at the beginning.
Okay.
I have received, let's see, I'm sorry, your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 24th. I may have already, did I already tell you that?
No.
Okay. So, preliminary hearing on September the 24th, unless you want to waive the hearing, do you want me to schedule that?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll schedule it for 8:30 that day. I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I'm going to find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this charge.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Mhm. All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Talaja Thomas.
Miss Thomas. All right. Give me just a minute to get your paperwork here. All right, Miss Thomas, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charges. I'm going to go through and tell you the bond amount on each charge, and then we'll add them up, and I'll tell you the total here at the end. So the first charge is possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes. That bond is $5,000. The next charge is possession of marijuana more than 1 ounce. That's a felony amount. That bond is $3,000. You're charged with the second count of possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes as well. I'm putting a $3,000 bond in that second charge. Then there's possession of a drug-related object. That's a $500 bond, and then operating a vehicle without insurance. I'm going to put a $500 bond on that one. That gets you to an even 12,000 is your total this morning.
Okay.
And let me save that here. Okay. Your preliminary hearing will be September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are conducted over the computer, just like this one. Do you want to see if you qualify for a public defender?
Yes, you said the 18th?
Yes, ma'am, September 18th.
Okay.
And okay, so I understand from your application you are working by your income level. You said you weren't sure.
Yeah.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a security officer.
Or so you're paid hourly?
Yes.
How much do you make per hour?
17.
17? Okay. All right. I'm going to find that you do qualify, and I'll put the order in to make sure that somebody's appointed to represent you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. And good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Ishiana Wall.
All right, Miss Wall, give me just a second to get your paperwork here. All right, Miss Wall, you have one charge, and that's obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That bond is it's a misdemeanor. The bond is going to be $1,500. The preliminary hearing in your case would be scheduled for September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. All right. We'll put you down for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Can I represent myself?
You may choose that. Do you know what the criminal penalties, the possible criminal penalties are for obstructing a law enforcement officer?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, you may want to have somebody appointed that you can at least kind of find out some basic information.
That's
Um,
fine, sir.
so let's see, what, do you currently work?
No, sir.
Okay. Do you have any kind of income?
Yes, sir. I'm a disabled veteran.
Disabled veteran?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Which branch did you serve in? Army. And how long did you serve?
4 years.
4 years. Well, thank you for your service.
Thank you, sir.
So I am going to go ahead and appoint someone to represent you on the charge. The court also has a veterans court program, and when somebody comes through who is a veteran, I like to send their case information to the Veterans Court Coordinator to see if there's any resources that they may have that can also help you there. And so I'm going to send your information to them as well. Okay. All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. All right. And good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Charlotte Cable.
Can you say it one more time?
Charlotte Cable.
Miss Cable. Okay. All right. All right. So, Miss Cable, you were charged with battery, family violence, and public drunkenness. Those are both misdemeanors. But the Criminal Records Index says you were given 10 years of probation back in 2018 in Walton County Superior Court. And when somebody is still in a probation period, we cannot give a bond on any charge, a misdemeanor that involves violence. And so I cannot give a bond on a battery offense at a first appearance. And this morning I can't do that. On the other charge of public drunkenness, I can go ahead and assign a bond of $1,000 on it. The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. And so I will put that order in appointing somebody to represent you.
We can't do the speedy trial thing where you move it up because they're both misdemeanors.
You can waive your preliminary. Wait, I'm sorry. I didn't ask you if you did want to waive, did I?
No.
I'm sorry. Do you want to waive your preliminary hearing so that we send it to state court right away?
Yeah.
Okay. You can do that. So the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign. And I'll indicate here that you are waiving this morning. And so we'll send your case to state court right away.
Okay, so we don't have a date on that?
Yeah, that'll come from state court. I don't know when they're scheduling for right now, but you'll hear pretty quickly.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
Let's go ahead and use the book. Let me see.
All right, and good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Kiana Truesdale.
It's Truesdale. All right, give me just a second here. All right, Ms. Truesdale, you have there's 3 charges here. These are all misdemeanors. The first is called driving in the gore, and that's bond is $500. Second charge is improper passing. That's a $500 bond. And then the last charge is obstruction of a law enforcement officer. That's being charged as a misdemeanor and a $1,000 bond. So your total bond is $2,000. Your preliminary hearing would be held on September the 24th unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, we'll put you down for September 24th at 8:30. And then I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I'll put the order in to make sure that somebody's appointed to represent you. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Next lady up.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Prisma Roberts.
Miss Roberts. Okay. Give me just a second here. All right. So, Miss Roberts, you have one charge. That is aggravated battery. That bond is $8,000. That includes a stay away provision. So while out on bond, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Richard Harden. And I believe, is that your husband?
Yes, that's my husband, and we just recently had a newborn baby and moved. We just signed a lease. Can we move it to no violent contact?
No, not on this charge. We're going to leave it at no contact for now, because I don't have your husband here to say what he wants and doesn't want. So, we'll leave it as it is for now, but do talk to your attorney about it. And if your husband wants that to be a no, because I certainly understand why he would with the new baby. But he can talk to the solicitor's office, victim services folks, and they can work together to make sure everybody's in agreement and then present the court with something to say everyone agrees that no violent contact's the best way to go here.
And then,
Mhm.
as far as the bond, I'm still in training for work. I just got off my postpartum training. So is it possible to get it lower just so that way it's a little bit more conducive for us?
Let's see. I tell you what, I will lower this down to 6,000. That's as low as I can go, because since it's an aggravated battery charge. But that'll lower it a little bit for you. Okay, but so since right away you got to stay away from your husband, have no contact. You can schedule an appointment with the sheriff's office to get a date and time that you can go back into the residence to get what items you need out for the time being. But like I said, talk to your attorney about that. And your preliminary hearing will be September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer. And so I know you said you're in training right now at a new job. Are you paid while you're in training?
Not currently, not until I finish the first part of training, and then the second part is a paid.
Okay, so really right now you have no income then for the time being then. Okay. All right, I'm going to find that you do qualify for the public defender's office, and I will make sure that somebody is appointed to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
I'm not scared.
All right. And good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Devin Jackson.
All right, Miss Jackson, give me just a minute to get your paperwork. All right, so Miss Jackson, I'm sorry, my system logged me out. Give me just a second to get back in here. All right. You have got two charges. The first one's a misdemeanor. That's simple battery. That bond is $1,500. The second charge is a felony. That's criminal damage to property in the second degree. That bond is going to be $3,000. So your total bond comes to $4,500. That includes special conditions that while out on bond, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Maurice Hill. And do you and Maurice Hill live at the same residence?
No, but we are married. But I have a
Okay.
question for you, Angie.
Let me go through the rest of this and then I'll ask you questions at the end here. All right. All right. So does Mr. Hill live at the 2002 Chase Ridge Drive address? All right. So for the time being, you got to stay away from that address and stay away from him, have no contact. The preliminary hearing would be held on September the 18th, unless you bond out sometime between here and then. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I'm going to find that you do qualify, and I will appoint somebody to represent you on this. And go ahead with your question.
Okay, so we have a storage unit, but it's in his name and I have belongings in there. How do I need to wait till after my court date to try to get there, or do I need to contact the sheriff's office to get that?
I will put in here, so it's a storage unit that you guys share.
Yeah, because he's giving me a hard time.
Okay. So, yeah, I guess I'll put in here that you can contact the sheriff's office to get a time that you can go by there, because you wouldn't know till you got there whether he was there or not. And so you could schedule an appointment with the sheriff's office to do that.
So do I do it on my own?
Yeah, when you have to do it within the first 10 days of your release. So just take care of it as soon as you're bonding out, and just get that scheduled, and that'll take care of it. Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Mhm. All right, give me just one moment here. All right, and good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Adriana Horton.
Miss Horton. Okay. Okay, Miss Horton, you are charged with simple battery family violence. That bond is going to be $1,500, and that's going to include a stay away and no contact provision with Marquise Thompson. Do you and Marquise Thompson live at the same residence?
No, we don't.
Okay, so just stay away and have no contact with Marquise Thompson. Your preliminary hearing would be held on September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Yeah, you can schedule it.
All right. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. And you don't have children, is that correct?
No, I don't.
Okay. So you're based on your income level, you do not qualify as indigent under Georgia law, and so you don't qualify for the public defender. So if you would like an attorney to represent you on this charge, you'll need to hire your own attorney, okay? All right. And that'll take care of everything today. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Good morning, ma'am. Can you state your name for me?
Carmen Morton.
Say your full name again.
Carmen Morton.
Morton. Okay, gotcha. All right. All right. So, Miss Morton, you have 3 charges, and these are all misdemeanors. The first charge is simple assault. That bond is going to be $1,000. The next charge is public drunkenness. That bond will be $1,000. And the last charge is disorderly conduct, and that bond's going to be $1,500. So your total bond is $3,500. That includes special provisions that while out on bond, you are to stay away from and have no contact with Danielle Leach. And do you and Danielle Leach live at the same residence?
No.
Okay. Who lives at 2192 Mount Zion Parkway? Is that where she lives, or is that a he or she, Danielle?
Don's my boss.
That's your boss. Okay. Hang on just a second. Let me look at this. Oh, okay. This is a hotel
Yeah.
and
it's
you
probably
work there?
Yeah, we're traveling. We're not even from here.
Okay. All right. So just for the time being, stay away from that hotel. Okay.
Got you.
So 2192 Mount Zion Parkway in Marlin.
Got you.
Do you still have items there at the hotel?
Yeah, I do, but I mean, if I'm not gonna get out today, I'm probably just gonna lose them. So
Okay. Well, what I will put in here is that you can contact the sheriff's office and they'll schedule like a date and time that you would be allowed to go there to see if they probably set your items aside to pick those items up. Okay.
all right.
And then the preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. Unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
So I gotta pay the bond, which is 3,500. You said that, right?
Yeah, if you post a bond, then this hearing gets canceled automatically. And then you would get a notice in the mail from state court of your arraignment hearing.
Okay, yeah,
Which is where you enter a plea.
I'll do it.
Okay, so we'll put you on the calendar for September 24th. And then I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. And so I guess so you are working, how much has this affected your work status any?
Yes, you can basically say I lost my job yesterday, but I still have about 3 or 4 checks coming in.
Okay, but really I guess as of today, maybe you're unemployed then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to find that you do qualify for a court-appointed attorney, and that way we will appoint somebody to represent you on this. Okay.
Can I ask you something?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
I'm still here on the 24th, and I can't come up with 3,500. Will I get out on the 24th, or will I have to continue to stay till I can pay the bond?
So on the 24th, if you're still there, we would have a hearing to determine if there's enough evidence to keep your case going. And if we did, then your case would be sent to state court, where they would then schedule the arraignment hearing, where you would enter a plea. But you would, if you are unable to make bond, I tell you what, are you going to be able to come up with the 3,500 to make
I
bond?
can come up with 25. I'm gonna be honest, but I don't know about 35.
So, do you think you'd be able to use a bonding company? They may only charge you 10 to 15% of the total. So they
Does
may
it
only
make it cheaper? A bonding company?
Yeah, you just don't get the money back at the end.
Oh, I don't care about the money back. I just want to get out. Right?
Okay. Well, you may be able to talk. A bonding company may charge you like 15%, which would be, I don't know, maybe $500 or so, a little over 500.
For real?
Yeah. Yeah. So talk to a bonding company, see if they might help you. Okay. And I'm going to actually, while we're saying that, let me, because I'm going to knock this disorderly conduct down 500. And
I don't even know why I got the assault on my thing. Does it tell you why? Like, could you tell me why?
simple assault. Yes, ma'am, I'd say. But I'm going to knock your bond down to 2,500 if that helps
Thank you so much.
But let me tell you, I guess what's listed here as to why they charge you with simple assault. I think it had to do with spitting, attempting to spit on someone, on the victim. Okay, so that's why they charged you with simple assault. Okay, all right, but your total bond, I'll make it 2,500.
All right.
Okay, and that'll take care of everything. All right. Okay, good luck to you.
This is the last female, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, thank
Hey,
you.
how you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Sequoia Shannon is here.
Say your name one more time.
Sequoia Shannon.
Shannon.
Sequoia Shannon.
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Give me just a second to get that paperwork here. 3. All right. So, Miss Shannon, you technically have 2 cases. These were divided out. I sort of understand what the allegations are here. They were sort of split up into 2 different parts. So I'm going to start with the second case that's in our system because it has the more severe charges. Okay. You are charged with aggravated assault and aggravated battery. Those are felonies. I've considered, but am denying bond on both of those charges this morning. You're then charged with 2 counts of hit and run. I am going to go ahead and assign bond amounts on the rest of these charges. So on each of those, there will be a $3,000 bond. You're charged with 3 counts of obstruction of a law enforcement officer. We're going to put a $1,000 bond on each of those charges. Then in your, and I'm sorry, let me, and since the aggravated assault and aggravated battery are felony charges, though that preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Okay. Then in the other case that's been separated out, those are all misdemeanor cases. I can go ahead and on all of those charges. So there's a that bond is 3,000. There's driving too fast for conditions. That bond is 500. There's improper passing. That bond is 500. There's disregarding a traffic control device. That bond is 500. And there's leaving a motor vehicle unattended. That bond is 500. That preliminary hearing, since those are all misdemeanors, would be scheduled for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. And all of those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
No, I'm my own attorney.
You have hired, or you're hiring your own attorney?
No, I get it to the attorney. I get an attorney.
Okay. So do you currently have an income? No income?
Yeah, no income.
Okay. Do you have a job?
No, no job.
All right. I am going to assign somebody to represent you. And they'll take care of everything this morning. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Quick question. The last name Hanson, do this charges. Would you like him to go first? Get him out the way for the mails or just last?
Hanson, give me just a second
No problem.
here to look at that. Yeah, is it easier to go ahead and take him now without a lot of round? Yeah, that'll be great.
Bob and the other one, right? Oh, yeah, all right. He go first. Go step up.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your full name for me?
Jonathan Hanson.
All right. And Mr. Hanson, do you know what your charges are?
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'll just tell you, one of those charges is one that only a superior court judge has the authority to give a bond. So that bond hearing will be scheduled up in superior court for some time coming up. The other 2 charges I've considered, but am denying bond on those this morning. The preliminary hearing in the case will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. And I understand that you are working, but I know you're not getting a bond today. Are you going to lose your job by being in here?
Probably so.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go ahead and assign somebody to represent you. And so I'll put that order in today. All right. And they'll take care of everything. Thank you, sir.
Bobby, you up first. Yeah.
All right, give me just one moment, sir. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me? Harvey Barber. That's your name. Okay. Give me just a second to get that paperwork here. All right, Mr. Barber, you have got 3 charges here. The criminal records index indicates you were given 5 years of probation back in May in DeKalb County Superior Court. And because of that, I cannot assign a bond amount on any felony offenses. And you've got 2 of those. So there's theft by receiving stolen property and possession of a controlled substance. So I can't give you a bond on those this morning. The 3rd charge is possession of a drug-related object. That I can give you a bond on that one. We'll just list a $500 bond there. The preliminary hearing in your case would be September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And do you currently have a job? Do you have any kind of income? Okay. All right. I'm going to assign somebody to represent you. All right. They'll take care of everything. Thank you, sir. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Jamal Beatles.
Mr. Beatles. All right. All right. So, Mr. Beatles, you've got 2 charges here. There's felony theft by receiving stolen property. That bond is $3,000. And then there's driving on a suspended license. That bond is $1,500. So your total bond comes to $4,500. The preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are conducted over the computer, just like this one. And do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And based on your application, I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, you told me to do that. I didn't go to bed, my bad.
Don't make me tell you.
All right. And good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Tayshawn Brown.
All right, Mr. Brown. Give me just a second to find some paperwork here. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Brown, you have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 charges here. The criminal records index indicates you were given 12 months of probation back in December from Bullock County Superior Court. And because of that, I can't give you a bond on any felony offenses. So you're charged with possession of marijuana more than 1 ounce. That's a felony. You're also charged with possession of marijuana with intent to distribute. That is also a felony. It's actually listed in the system as misdemeanor. That's something that'll get changed to felony down the road. And since it's listed as misdemeanor, there's a bond amount listed of $1,000 on that. But on the possession charge, I can't give you a bond at all. And I think that the intent to distribute will be changed to felony down the road.
Could you explain why? It would be
That's the way the statute's written. It has to do with the potential punishment of on the statute. But the next three charges are misdemeanors. That's failure to stop at a stop sign, failure to maintain brake lights, and possession of a drug-related object. We can list bond amounts of $500 on each of those. The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are conducted over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on these charges. All right. Thank you, sir.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Could the court appointed be changed later on? Like about
Oh, yeah. If you end up hiring your own or if your family hires one for you or something, they can swap out really easily down the road. So, okay. All right. Thank you. All right. And good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Hassan Dillard.
Mr. Dillard. All right. All right, so Mr. Dillard, it looks like you've got two charges here. These are both misdemeanors. So there's battery, that is a $3,000 bond, and then criminal trespass, that's going to be a $2,000 bond. So your total bond is $5,000. That's going to include a stay away provision. So while out on bond, you're to stay away from and have no contact with Zaria Jackson. Do you and Zaria Jackson live at the same residence?
Oh, sir.
Okay, so for the time being, just stay away and have no contact. The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. and those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. Unless you want to waive that hearing. I'm sorry, I meant to ask you, do you want me to schedule that hearing or do you want to waive it?
I don't even know what it really means. I'm not.
Okay, so what we'll do is we can put you on the calendar. If you post a bond later today or anytime before then, the hearing's just canceled at the point you post the bond.
Okay,
so
yeah, I'm a bond. I got a bond.
5,000 is the total
Okay.
bond. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And then so yeah, preliminary hearing, we'll schedule it. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to appoint somebody to represent you on this.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name?
Richard Dickerson.
Mr. Dickerson. Okay. Okay, so Mr. Dickerson, you've got 4 charges. These all have preset bond amounts, so you may have already been told what they are, but I'll go through them with you here. There's failure to maintain lane, that's a $500 bond. There's driving too fast for the conditions, that's a $500 bond. There's driving on a suspended license, that's a $1,500 bond. And there's possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce, that's a $1,000 bond. So when we add all of those together, that comes up to $3,500, I believe. Let me double check that. Yeah, $3,500. The preliminary hearing in your case would be scheduled for September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Schedule that, sir.
All right. We'll put you down for September the 24th.
I'm sorry, if I pay the bond, I don't need to have the hearing?
Right. If you pay the bond, once you're released, that hearing is just automatically canceled.
Okay.
And
well,
then we
I
send the
don't wanna-
case to state court. They would mail you your next hearing notice.
I don't want to schedule a hearing.
You don't want it scheduled?
No.
Okay, so I'll indicate here that you're waiving then. All right, and so the deputies there will have a waiver form for you to sign that just sends your case directly to state court. All right, so I'll indicate that here. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. And based on your application, I find that you do qualify. So I will see that somebody's appointed to represent you. Also note here, you indicated you're a veteran. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What branch did you serve in?
Army.
Army?
Yes, sir.
And how long did you serve?
85 to 89, 4 years.
4 years. Okay. All right. The reason I asked that, we have a veterans court program. And whenever a veteran comes through, I try to send that case information over to the Veterans Court coordinator to see if they've got any resources there that may help you. So I'll send your information to them too. Okay.
I'm still confused about the hearing part.
The preliminary hearing. So, okay. The preliminary hearing is only held if you're still sitting in jail.
Okay.
So whether you waive it now and we go ahead and send your case to state court, that speeds up the process in terms of getting to state court. But if you want us to schedule the preliminary hearing, in case you run into some problem posting bond, or something like that, we can do that. It's just up to you.
I'll post bond.
So you want to just waive the hearing?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. That'll take care of everything today. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Dickerson needs to sign a waiver.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me? Can you say your name for me? Mr. Francis. Okay, I got you. All right. Give me just a moment here to get your paperwork. All right. So, Mr. Francis, you have got 5 charges here. I'll give you the bond on each charge, and then we'll add those up at the end. So your first charge is a felony violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. We're going to put a $3,000 bond on that. The next charge is possession with intent to distribute. We'll put a $3,000 bond on that one. Then a possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That's a misdemeanor amount, so that's a $1,000 bond. There's an open container violation. That's a $500 bond. And then the last charge is possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes. That is a felony, and that's a $5,000 bond. So when we add all these up, your total today comes to $12,500. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer. And I have your application for a court attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will put the order in to see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this case. All right. Thank you, sir.
Your Honor,
Yes.
like to make a claim.
I'm sorry?
So I'd like to make a statement.
Okay.
I want to claim a substance that was found in our vehicle. It had nothing to do with Raheem Smith, my sister, Shanika Francis.
Okay. You need to talk to your attorney about that. Okay.
All right, cool.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
No. Sit down. Okay. Yes.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
How you doing, Your Honor? My name is Mr. Howard Brown.
Howard Graham. Okay. Give me just a second to get your paperwork here. All right, Mr. Graham, you've got one charge. That's simple battery. That's a misdemeanor. That bond is going to be $3,000. That includes a special condition that if you do bond out, you have to stay away from and have no contact with Officer Lemons, the alleged victim. The preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one.
You said,
And
no, when?
I'm sorry,
Say the day of the preliminary hearing?
September the 24th.
Okay.
24th. And how long? I know you're currently incarcerated. How long have you been incarcerated?
Almost 2.5 years.
Okay, so I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you. Did you fill out an application for a court-appointed attorney today?
Yes, sir.
Let's see if I can find it. For some reason I have misplaced it, but I will take care of that on my end and make sure that I get that in to have somebody appointed for you. So,
Thank you, Your Honor.
all right, that'll take care of everything. Thank you, sir. All right, good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Charles Gordon.
Mr. Gordon.
Yes, sir.
All right. All right. And, so, Mr. Gordon, you're every assigned bond amount, so you may have already been told this, but I'll go through them with you. There's driving on a suspended license. That's a $1,500 bond. There's providing a false name, address, or date of birth. That's a $1,500 bond. And there's an expired tag. That's a $500 bond. So when we add all those up, your total comes to $3,500. Your preliminary hearing would be held on September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that? All right, so we'll put you down for September 24th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I have received your application for a court-appointed attorney. I'm going to find that you do qualify, and I will put the order in to have somebody appointed to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir.
I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Do I qualify for signature bond?
No, sir. Those have already been evaluated this morning.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Stand by, I'm currently in low release. Let me go to the warehouse.
Give me just one moment here. 11, 12. Okay. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Ham, Mr. Ham,
Dale Ham.
just, it is.
Okay, Mr. Ham, give me just a minute to get your paperwork here. All right, Mr. Ham, you have got two charges. The first charge is public indecency. That bond is going to be $2,000. Second charge is criminal trespass. That bond is going to be $2,000. So your total bond is going to be $4,000. That's going to include a stay away and no contact provision with the alleged victim, Pamela Brewster. So don't have any contact with her. The preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 24th. At 8:30 a.m. unless you want to waive the hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
I want to go ahead and, I already signed for a lawyer, so I do want to go ahead and schedule that hearing.
Okay, so we'll put it down for September the 24th. And do you plan on hiring your own attorney?
I could, yes, sir. If you give me a phone to call them in front of you,
Reason,
I can call them.
okay, I was just asking, because your application for a public defender is not filled out.
Well, I'll fill that out too, but I do need any kind of attorney that can understand where I'm coming from.
Okay, so but you do want to apply for a public defender?
Yes, sir, really.
Okay, so tell me, are you currently working?
I'm on the public defender and a lawyer. I do get work. I do get income of medical for my medical disabilities of taking medication.
You get disability?
Yes, sir.
Is it Social Security disability?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. I'm going to find that you do qualify for the
housing limitation for my disability too.
All right. And I'll see that somebody is appointed to represent you on this.
Thank you so much. And
all right.
Thank you, Mr. Yonder.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. And good morning. Can you state your name for me?
Jonathan Katz.
Mr. Katz. All right. All right, so Mr. Katz, you have one charge that is criminal trespass. That bond is $1,000. That includes a special condition that you're not to return to Hartsfield-Jackson Airport unless you're in possession of a valid ticket for travel on that same day. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 24th at 8:30 a.m. unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
No.
You want to waive the hearing?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you'll sign a waiver there with the deputies, and then we'll send your case on to state court. And do you currently have any kind of income?
No.
All right. I'm going to appoint an attorney to represent you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, sir. And Mr. Katz needs to sign a waiver. Okay.
No, was next. Now come on.
All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me? John Malloy. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Malloy, you have one charge. That's possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. That is a felony, and that bond amount is $8,000. The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are conducted over the computer, just like this one. Do you want to be represented by a public defender? Okay. Do you currently have a job? Do you have any kind of income? I'm sorry, I couldn't hear what you're saying there. Okay. All right. So I will appoint an attorney to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. And good morning. Can you state your name for me?
Johnny Miller.
All right, Mr. Miller.
Silverio.
All right. So, Mr. Miller, you have got 5 charges here. The criminal records index indicates you were given 5 years of probation back in 2022 in Clayton County Superior Court. And because of that probation, we cannot give you a bond on any felony offenses. So you're charged with criminal damage in the second degree, burglary in the second degree, theft by taking, that's being charged as a felony, and then possession of a Schedule 1 substance. So I cannot give you a bond on any of those felony charges. You do have one misdemeanor charge. That's obstruction of a law enforcement officer. Go ahead and list a bond amount of $1,000 on that charge. The preliminary hearing in your case will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And I am going to assign an attorney to represent you on the case. All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Morning, Rashad Pitts.
All right. Okay, so Mr. Pitts, you have got there's 4 charges. I'll tell you the bond amount on each one, and then I'll tell you the total at the end. There is a possession of marijuana more than 1 ounce. That's a felony offense. That's a $3,000 bond. You then got 2 charges of possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes. We're going to put a $3,000 bond on each of those. And then your last charge is a misdemeanor. That's possession of a drug-related object, and that's a $500 bond. So your total bond comes to $9,500. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. Those hearings are held over the computer, just like this one. And I understand from your application for an attorney, you work in like a family business. How much do you earn in the average week through the family
like
business?
500.
About 500. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm going to find that you do qualify for the public defender, and I'll put the order in to see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir. Mhm. Give me just one moment here. 6, 7. All right. And can you, good morning, and can you state your name for me?
Good morning, my name is Raheem Smith.
Mr. Smith. All right. Give me just a second to get that paperwork here. All right. So, Mr. Smith, you have got 5 charges. I'll tell you the bond amount on each charge, and then we'll add them up at the end here and give you the total. So the first charge is violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. The second charge is also possession of a controlled substance, and that's with intent to distribute. Those are both felonies. We'll list a bond amount of $3,000 on each of those. The next charge is there's a tag light violation and a tail light violation. There's 2 separate violations. We're going to put a $250 bond amount on each of those. And then the last charge is possession of a firearm during the commission of certain crimes. That's a $5 bond. We add up all 5 bonds, the total is $1,500. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
There's a lot of noise in the background. I can't understand. I can't hear you. Sorry about it. Can you repeat the number again? Sorry.
Okay. The total bond is $11,500. Okay.
Do I get 10%?
You could talk to a bonding company. They may charge you 10 to 15%, somewhere in there.
Okay.
But the bonding company, they each have different fees, so they'll have to tell you directly what their fees are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And then the preliminary hearing in your case, we're going to schedule for September the 18th at 8:30 a.m. And those hearings are conducted over the computer, just like this one. And I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I find that you do qualify. So I will see that somebody's appointed to represent you as well. All right. Thank you, sir.
I have one question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I know when I got pulled over, it was just one tail light. So I understand how it was two different tail lights I got charged with.
So yeah, I read because I saw the two violations and I had to read it kind of closely to see what the allegations were. And I think the allegations are that there were two violations, but let me pull it up on the system. I can read you directly what they said here.
Yeah, that sounds insane.
So it says the vehicle had no tag light and a damaged driver's side tail light. So they're basically saying two lights were out on it. Okay.
I mean, when I drive, I click the indicator at work. I was
talk to your I was gonna say talk to your attorney about that one. Okay.
And you said 11,500.
Yes, sir. That's right.
Thank you so much, Your Honor. Have a good
Okay. Thank you. You too. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Vincent Williams.
All right. All right. So Mr. Williams, you have one charge that is possession of marijuana less than 1 ounce. That's a $1,000 bond. Have you already started posting bond?
I'm not sure. I was trying to contact my mother, but I haven't gotten in contact with her. So
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. No, I found it. Sorry, I didn't see you on my system right away, but I see it now. Because sometimes when people are starting the bonding process, their paperwork disappears, but I see it here. Your preliminary hearing will be scheduled for September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
Oh, you said September the 24th?
24th,
And that will be for my preliminary hearing?
Preliminary hearing, if you're still in jail. If you haven't bonded out by then we would have that preliminary hearing.
Can you see if my bonds is being posted? Being gold?
So I did find you on my system, so that means it's probably not in the process right now, or it may have just started. But I'll put you down for September the 24th, and then that'll be canceled when you do bond out. Okay. And then the preliminary hearing in your case, I did receive your application for a court-appointed attorney, and I do find that you qualify. So I will put in the order to see that somebody's appointed to represent you on this. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have a blessed day.
Okay, you too. Thanks. All right. Good morning, sir. Can you state your name for me?
Your Honor, my name is Rafael Garcia.
Mr. Garcia. Okay. All right, so Mr. Garcia, you have got 5 charges. These are all misdemeanors. I'll tell you the bond on each one, and then I'll tell you the total at the end. So the first charge is DUI, and that bond amount is going to be $2,500. The next 4 charges are improper lane change, turn signal violation, driving on the wrong side of the roadway, and an open container violation. They each have a $500 bond. So when we add all of those up, your total bond this morning comes to $4,500. The preliminary hearing in your case would be scheduled for September the 24th, unless you want to waive that hearing. Do you want me to schedule that?
It'll be automatically waived if I get bond.
Post bond, right. When you're released, it's automatically waived at that point.
Okay. Well, we'll just leave it like that, I guess.
Okay. All right. And then do you want to be represented by a public defender?
Yeah, if I could.
Okay. Okay. So I understand you are currently working. Are you paid weekly?
Yeah.
How much do you take home after taxes each week?
It's really anywhere between 1,000 to 1,200.
Okay.
1,500.
And you don't have children, is that correct?
Don't have children, no.
Okay. All right. So based on your income level, you do not qualify as indigent under Georgia law, and so you don't qualify for the public defender. So if you would like an attorney to represent you on this case, you'll need to hire your own attorney. Okay.
Okay.
All right. And that'll take care of everything today. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Oh, great. We can most definitely take somebody. That's it, Your Honor.
Okay. Yeah. Let me see if I got any stray paperwork around. There was one that Corey Cortland, is he bonded out?
I'm sorry, who?
I had something on Corey Cortland.
He's bonded out.
Bonded out. Okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, that's everybody I got.
Thank you.